So welcome everybody to the OQL International Culture Challenge 2. This is a competition that was previously known as the Highbrow Mueller, but the name has been changed to represent the true international standard of this competition. As an example of that, we have 288 players representing 17 different nationalities and 5 different continents. So that just tells you just how international this is. For tonight's draw, I am joined by Gareth Kingston from All Things Quiz and Pam Mueller, who plays in OQL USA, hosts for the Connections League. We'll get straight into it. I'll just reiterate very, very quickly. Every game has 1 seeded player and 3 non-seeded players. We'll tell you who the players are, a little bit about them, and what we think those games are going to be. So, Will, on that, I think we'll take the first game straight away. And apologies if anybody's missed anything important. I'll try and repeat stuff again at the end. So the first game then is number 252, Somershis Gosh. 58 is Dave McBrien, who is our seeded player for this match. 163, Lindsay Baumeister, and 182 is Matthew Nail. So a very UK-centric game there with Somershis as well. Dave is a current Mastermind champion, and Lindsay is appearing in the Connections Online Quiz League final, which goes live at 8:30 tonight. So that's 10:30 tonight. Well worth a watch. She plays on a team with Paul Sinner. Do you know much about Somershis, either of you?
No, I don't know anything there, I'm
No.
afraid. But I mean, otherwise, this is a good lineup because Dave McBrien, 15-1 champion, Mastermind champion. Believe he's in the semi-finals of Brain of Britain. Irish international, just an absolutely outstanding quizzer. Lindsay Baumeister has asked that I say nice things about her. So Lindsay does great knitting, wonderful crafts. No, she's a great quizzer. She was a whodunit on Only Connect. She's 1/3 of the odd thruple, as he said. She's a quiz in the North regular, and she's a regular on Quizzy Monday on All Things Quiz. So we love her. Oh,
that's great. Matthew is a UK player as well. Captains a team, I think, in UK divisions 5, 6, or 7. I'm not sure exactly which. I'd be expecting Dave to come through there. I think Somershis is quite good, and Lindsay and Matthew both got ability, so it could be an interesting first game. Okay, and we'll take game 2. So 167 is our seeded player, and it's another Mastermind champion, Marion Fairthorne. Number 94, oh wow, is another Mastermind champion, Gary Grant. There can't be that many left. 206 is Paddy Pamont, and 29 is Ben Russell Jones. Wow. Okay, this is a very UK-centric heat again, Pam, I'm afraid, but we talked about the possibility of a group of death. Well, we are looking at it right now.
We really are. And, you know, Gary Grant was joking about not being a seed and getting a stacked heat and a heat of death. But, I mean, Marianne Fairthorne, Mastermind champion. Her subject was Carolina Sports, so she's great on the highbrow stuff. She's also mathematician, so she's got science and all of that. Gary Grant, Mastermind champion, very good on dolphins, but he's a GP, so he's also very good on anything kind of medical. So they're tremendous. And then Paddy Pamont, he's relatively new to this kind of top level quizzing, but he's averaging 3.672s in QLL at the moment. So he's a really solid player. And then Ben Russell Jones, current University Challenge player, phenomenally strong on literature, but he's an all-round outstanding player. So that is one brute of a absolute.
I suppose the only positive they can take away is they're all UK based, so scheduling hopefully won't be an issue.
yeah.
That's
Silver linings.
Sorry everyone in that one. And on that, we'll move on to game 3, which will struggle to match up to that, but we'll see. 154 is Julia Clark. 57 is Darren Monk. 250 is Simon Dick, and 17 is our seeded player, Andy Greeley, who is one of our American players, isn't he?
This is Darren Monk, yeah. So 2 Americans, finally. I feel so much less provincial. I actually can say things about people. Andy Greeley plays in OQL, also in Learned League, great at world history and geography, like top notch. So also good at American history. So this whole league is right up his alley. Darren Monk is also in OQL. He's an A rundler, really good stats across the board in Learned League. So
great.
How do they match up against the Brits?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know Andy Greeley, I don't think. Andy Greeley's American as well.
He's American, yeah.
And Simon Dick, he's British quizzer. Again, don't know too much about him, but he played in the World Championships this year, 563rd, which is a more than respectable showing because it gets to a point where 1 point bunches you in quite a huge number of people. So, yeah, interesting group.
Yeah, he captains the Bravehearts in, I think, OQL UK 5, Division 5, and Julia is a regular OQL UK player. I suspect the Americans may have the edge there, but again, it all depends on what comes up. Something which we may not have mentioned is, well, just for games where we've got UK versus US players or US versus European players, UK and Europe, the clocks all went back an hour last night. So for this 1 week, the time differences are an hour closer than usual. So please bear that in mind when scheduling. And then when you Americans put their clocks back next weekend, we will go back to normal.
Comment in the chat from Scott Blish saying Monk and Greeley are both beasts.
Yeah.
So that's one to look forward to.
Yeah, two very good Americans together there. Great. Okay, let's have a look at the next game. 134 is our seeded player, that's Jeff Richmond. 41, Charlotte Auber. 226 is Randall Eng. Oh, that's a teammate of yours now, Gareth.
He is indeed.
And 48, unseeded, but again a mastermind champion. We've had 4 in 4 matches. It's Clive Dunning.
Well, I did a lot of quizzing during quarantine with Jeff Richmond, and he is a beast at geography and history. Yeah, I wouldn't look forward to going up against him in anything highbrow, really. So he's excellent.
Randall has recently joined your team then, Gareth.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing. We're a British team. Randall is from America, but he's fitted in really well. And sometimes it's hard in OQL if it's a very parochial thing, but he's really good. Across the board, I think he's got really good knowledge. Quite how deep it is in this curriculum, not so sure. But I tell you what, he's somebody who has a lot of stuff under his belt, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does well in this heat.
Right.
And Clive Dunning.
Clive Dunning, yeah, there's not a lot more. Yeah, he's super. Mastermind champion. He did very well on Brain of Britain as well.
Brain of Britain as well at a canter. I mean, he's been part of multiple winning teams as Team Northeast and various iterations of that. He's just such a strong player.
It looks like a tough game. And Charlotte Auber is a Only Connect TV player and has been part of the Connections League. And also she read loads of games for the Pop Culture Challenge, which we really appreciate. So hopefully if that game gets scheduled early, she can take up reading in this as well. Great. A good game. Going to be tough. And we'll take game 5. So 131, Joey Anthony Martins. Number 9 is the seeded player here, which is Anderson Wang. 240 is Ryan Gossio. And 264 is Thomas Hart. So that's very American, isn't it, Pam?
Yeah, 3 out of 4 at least.
Yeah,
I don't know a whole lot about Anderson Wang, other than if he's seeded, must have excellent stats. If he plays OQL, I know. Didn't see him on Learned League, and I don't know him personally. So if any of you want to speak up on his,
is he part of No Hat Mafia? Is he's part of one of the strong teams in Connections League? Or
he could be in Connections. He's not on No Hat Mafia.
Okay, I think he might be in a strong team on Connections League. I think.
Jayanthi's in Learned League. She has really good stats in geography and also food and drink. So I know that's a smaller part of this, but could come up. Ryan Gossio is an OQL, really excellent at classical music, which is, a lot of these people are great at world history and geography, but he's got top-notch music in addition to the history and literature that a lot of people are sort of good at. So.
And he's solid in QB League as well, so he's doing well. And Thomas Hart, he's British. He came 368th in the most recent World Quizzing Championship. So you have to be a serious player to be attempting that because it's such a brutally hard competition.
Will's just messaged like Anderson Wang is playing in the 3rd v 4th playoff tomorrow of the Connections League, so that'll be aired tomorrow. And Thomas Hart, I believe, is a member of the Warwick University Quiz Society, where Robert Crawley has just joined. So we have a few of those players in this competition who are making their debuts in OQL. So he's the one Brit in that game. But it should be a nice game by the sounds of it. Right, game 6. Anderson's in the expats. Yes, that sounds right. 286 expats they are now. Yes. So Speaking of Connections League, we have an Only Connect legend from the USA, a 286 seeded player, Yogesh Rout. 238 is Ross Taylor. 178 is Matt Prescott. And 143 is John Massey. So Yogesh doesn't really need much introduction. He runs the Only Connect group, captains Palante in Connections OQL, and is an all-round excellent quizzer. Very well respected as a quizzer. Ross, I believe, is British.
Yeah, and he's another solid player. Again, you know, he's one of the players who's come to the fore during sort of the COVID era. 391st in the WQC. So again, another more than respectable showing from Ross. You know, I think Yogesh looks like the heavy hitter in this set, but actually there's a couple of names I just don't know. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, well, Matt, I know he's our South African representative in this competition. I don't know much about John Massey, I'm afraid. I don't even know.
He's in the US OQL, doing well. I couldn't find him on Learned League, so I can't say too much about his specific strengths and weaknesses. But you know, anyone going up against Yogesh is going to have a tough fight. But I think it'll be a good match.
I think so. I'd expect Yogesh to come through, but it'd be good to see how the others do in that game. Okay, game 7. 233, that is Rob Sutherland. 287 is Zach Foster. 37 is Caroline Latham, and 193 is the seeded player, and that's Ned Pendleton. So we have here very QLL competition.
It really is. Yeah. I'm not sure where to start with that. Probably Rob Sutherland, because he's just, you know, one of the quiet guys at quiz, but he's absolutely fantastic. He came 29th in the most recent British Quiz Championships. Strong across all the traditional topics. In QB League, which is buzzer quiz and tends towards the kind of the higher curriculum, he's averaging 57.5 points per game in QB League, which is really, really good. Rob is somebody to kind of look out for. Caroline, solid Division 3 QLL player. Traditional curriculum should suit her. Ned Pendleton is a star across multiple formats. He's played internationally for England youth. He's done well in all manner of competitions. He's a great QLL Division 1 player. So, you know, between Rob and Ned, you've got two heavyweights of QLL playing. I don't know Zach, I'm afraid, but yeah, that's an interesting match.
Zach's an American.
Yeah, Zach is playing in the OQL USA League. I guess averaging 4.42s a game, so good stuff.
He plays in OQL UK now as well as he participates in both Pop Solos and Pop Culture Challenge. So I guess it wouldn't be an individual competition without Zach. And depending on how that fits, but being the only one, the lone American amongst 3 Brits may well benefit him. But that's a tough heat. I think Rob and Caroline were both probably not far off being seeded. So that's going to be that'll be a tough game for sure. Okay, game 8. 126 is James Murphy. 222. I do apologise if I pronounce any names wrong. This is Raghuvir Mukamala. 282 is Vinu Sanjay, and number 19 is Ant Fish. So Vinu is an Indian quizzer who I think won one of the tiers last season. And was a very late signee this season, but very, very good player. Obviously worthy of being seeded there. Ant and James are British quizzers. James, I think, is much more lowbrow oriented though. So pop culture more his style than international. So see how he does here. Is Raghuvir a US quizzer?
Yeah, he's in OQL USA, averaging 4.2s a game. So again.
And he came 113th in the world this year.
Oh, that's
so
excellent.
There's no flies on him. But Vinu, 60th in the world. So to have a top 100 player, he's got to have phenomenal knowledge across art and culture, history, civilization, all of those sorts of subjects. James Murphy, great Grand Prix regular, comes to my venue sometimes. Leicester City fan, I think I'll be correct in saying.
Never mind.
He is watching the stream at the moment, so he'll tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, a nice spread. But I think you might be looking Raghuvir and Vinu fighting that one out because they are two big hitters.
Yeah. We'll see. The Brits may well prove us wrong there, but we'll see. Okay, game 9. Number 15 is Andrew Townsley. 159 is Kevin Crawford. Number 12 is our seeded player, is Andrew Fraser. And number 30 from Australia, Ben Signor. So that's a bit of a global. I don't know Kevin, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he's in OQL USA, also in Learned League. Strong in math and geography, as well as food and drink. So a little different demographically in terms of strengths from the people who are just history, geography. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. Andrew Townsley, 468th in the world. I don't know anything really about Kevin and Ben, but Andrew Fraser, oh, he's a phenomenal long-standing quizzer in the Quiz League of London. One of the best players you're going to find anywhere on the ancient history of Rome and that sort of classical civilization thing. He was top 10 in all of the ICC-style topics at the British Quiz Championships, 58th in the World Quiz Championships, and he's batting a 41.84 average points per game in QB League. This is a guy with experience and in form.
Yeah, oh, he's a fantastic quizzer. And he's also offered to read at the OQL Buzzer quiz, which is very kind of him, so take a look at that. Andrew, we always mention this, but you would because it's such a big thing. Andrew won £500,000 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, so anybody with that kind of result can never be ignored. But I do think it's going to be tough for anyone. Whoever came up against Andrew is going to struggle. But it's going to be tough to organise as well with 3 time zones there, so good luck everybody, but we'll help you if we need. And game 10, please. 175 is Martin Petrowski. Again, apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Number 80, Edouard Stan from Romania, I believe. 13, Andrew Rout. And 278, well, 278 is our defending champion and probably the best quizzer in the world at the moment, I think, Victoria Gross. So I think, Pam, we'll let you say a bit about.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Victoria is so strong across the board, you can't list what she's good at. I was just going to list what she's not good at. Yeah, that's about it. So
yeah.
I mean, she is just phenomenal across all formats during the COVID era. In whether it's an American competition, an international competition, British competition, she's just sublime and a lovely person to boot. So you've got to find yourself unfortunate to be in the same group as her. Andrew Rout, the winning captain of University Challenge last year from Warwick. So he's a good player. 31.81 average in QB League. Edward Stan. Really nice guy. Helped to organise the Bucharest European Championships. 154th in the world. Really good at culture. 23.33 in QB League. So no slouches. And the way Mimir is, a bad guess here and there. And there are some players here who could capitalise. So Victoria's still got to be on her game.
Oh yeah, it's a tough game, but I don't think anyone would bet against Victoria in any game at all in quizzing at the moment.
Be a fool, yeah.
Yeah, Martin is in OQL and just joined Learned League last season, so we only have his rookie stats. But he has yet to miss a question in geography or American history, but small sample size. So.
Oh wow, but that's great though because they're big parts of the syllabus here, so that's going to be really interesting.
And Guy Jordan's just chipped in. Martin's a talented quiz bowl player from the 90s, so he's will have amassed quite a lot of knowledge since then as well. So yeah, good player.
That sounds like a great game then. Yeah. Okay, and we'll take game 11. Number 51, that is seeded player and Pop Culture Challenge, Pop Solos champion, Dan Burgess. 101 is Greg Butler from the UK. 43, Chris Devine from the UK. And 54 is Danny Lardner, also from the UK. So I think the first thing to point out here is if this was a Pop Culture Challenge match, that would be a really, really tough game. Not too sure how that transpires into ICC.
Well, he's Dan Burgess is, in Division 1 and OQL. He finished top 5 in the Learned League Championships last year. So I think his strengths are not just in the pop domain.
Wow. Okay, no, that's great. That's going to be tough for the other 3. All of whom are very good pop culture quizzes. I don't know how well that will transfer into.
No. I mean, Chris Devine, I'm looking at. He's a really good, solid player. Knocked me out of Brain of London, I think, last year. You know, he's a good player. Quite how to fare on the kind of the stiffer, tougher curriculum they'll be facing, I don't know, but you know, that'll be really interesting to see how they fare in the rest of the season, because the beauty of it is it's going to reveal some players whose strengths have not been played to in other tournaments.
Absolutely, yeah. And Danny Lala, the funniest thing with him is he's very disappointed that his number is 54. He wanted 15 higher, as he had in the Pop Culture Challenge. That was his number, and he was very pleased with that. And Greg plays in most OQL UK competitions now. I haven't really got to know him personally yet, but we appreciate all the support given to Lee there, so that's great. Okay, we'll take game 12. 117, that is our seeded player and OQL UK editor, Innes Carson. 217, Philip Burrows, also from the UK. 205, this is a name I don't know, and I will do my best to pronounce, so it's Pachala Rajagopal. I hope I've got that right. And 168 is Mario Abel, who I think is from Germany.
Yeah. The only insight I have here is on Innes Carson, and he's a Brain of Britain semi-finalist from this series. He's a professional question writer, works on a number of TV shows, currently, I believe, Mastermind, but he's done other shows. He's a really good player. He's averaging 34.29 in QB League. So, you know, Innes, perhaps because of his line of work, doesn't necessarily kind of get the amount of game time as others, but he's a really, really good player, and I think he plays one of the Scottish teams in another tournament. So yeah, he's good. The others, I'm afraid, they're all names I'm looking forward to learning about.
Okay. Well, Philip has been playing in most OQL competitions. Currently plays for Allures on Dunk in Division 7 of OQL, but they are the only team in OQL UK with a perfect record after 5 games. So they're looking strong for a title. Mario, I believe, is a German quizzer who played last time. I'm not too sure how they did. And I think this is a debut tournament for Pachala. So good luck to you all. I think you're struggling against Innes because he's such a good quizzer and such a lovely guy as well. There should be a good game there. And we'll move on to number 13. 274, that is our seeded player, American Tracy Merkin. 113, Ian Grieve from the UK. 235, Ros Dowding, who's also from the UK. 121 is a name I'm not familiar with. It's James Buchanan Worcester, or Worcester maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know Tracy? Huh?
I don't. I tried to do a little, you know, I won't say Google stalking, but Learned League and OQL stalking, and didn't turn anything up. There's a Dave Merkin in Learned League, but not a Tracy. So yeah, dark horse.
Right, no. I think Tracy's had a nomination for Quizzer of the Week on one occasion from OQL USA, but yeah, don't know much beyond that. Other than, and take this as a warning, everybody, 52.78 points per game in QB League. That is high. That is really high. To be fast and knowledgeable on that stuff is really good. James Buchanan Worcester is an Only Connect alumnus. So whatever he's done beyond that, I don't know. But he was on Only Connect 2-3 years ago. Really good player, really likable guy as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in kind of a more solid regular format like this.
Yeah, Ian Grieve plays for the Wigton Wanderers or Warriors in Division 2 of OQL, so second division player, but doing very well there. And Ros Dowding, I'm not sure what team she plays for, but she's definitely an OQL UK player. I think that could be fairly wide open, but Tracy's Quiz Bowl League stats suggest that he's probably a favourite there, I think.
Yeah, Scott Blish has chipped in, one of the key members of the ACF National Champions in Quiz Bowl, so I think perhaps we might put Tracy as favourite in that one.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have game 14. Okay, 145, that is John Payne. 67 is David Smith. 96 is Geir Christensen, and he's the seeded player here. And 247 is Shane Lawler. So I'm afraid this is an all-European game, Pam.
Yeah, but this has got one of the very, very big hitters, but actually kind of a name that you probably... Yeah, it's probably new to a lot of people, but Geir Christensen, 27th in the world last year, or this year in the World Championships. Absolutely phenomenal. David Smith, 476. John Payne plays for News on a Raft in QLL. He's got a 4.2s average, as has Shane Lawler, who plays in QLL with 4.2 pointers average. So we got some solid and strong players, and then Gear, who is just world class.
Yeah, I remember reading for Gear a couple of times last season. He's just phenomenal. David Smith is an MQL player, plays in the Warrington League, Irish origin. So I'll always be cheering for the local team. And Shane is playing for Shipwrecked in OQL Division 6, who are my favourite team because they are mostly local to me. But Shane obviously is not. But yeah, I think Gear will probably come through there. But the others, no slouches for sure. Great, game 15, please. Number 4 is, again, I'm going to apologise if I pronounce this wrong, that's Akshay Gurunorthy. 49 is Colin Mason, a name I'm not familiar with. 186 is Michael Bow. And number 6 is a seeded player, Alex Hardwick, who is a University Challenge alumni, I think.
Yeah. And Alex Hardwick is the only one, really, of those names that I do know and have played against in various tournaments, like Emma Laslett's MK Ultra one. Very, very solid player, very good at this sort of canon. So I've got no insights into the others, but I know he will play well.
No, do you know any of the others, Pam? I think
Colin is an OQL averaging 3 2s a game. But yeah, I don't know anything beyond that.
No, I mean 3 2s a game in OQL USA is because obviously there's no free guests in OQL USA, so
yeah.
every correct answer is a lot harder to come by. I think Michael is OQL UK, but I couldn't say much more than that. I think he was in the Pop Culture Challenge, though, but I don't know much more. And Akshay is one of our new Indian members who joined for this, and there's a lot of quality in the Indian quizzes, so he'll be no slouch there. But I think you'd probably think Alex will do well, but we'll wait and see how the game plays out. And we'll take game 16, please. 270 is Tom Speller. Wow, not seeded. 107 is Harry Heath. 239 is Ryan Bilger. He's our seeded player, and I believe American. And 138 is American, who does a lot of UK quizzing. That's Jim Mudrak. So Pam, if you want to start us with our seed here, perhaps.
Yeah, well-deserved seed. Tournament of Champions finalist on Jeopardy. Did Quiz Bowl in college. Very strong across the board, especially in history, as if it's someone with a graduate degree in the area. But he's definitely the one to beat there.
It's a tough heat though. We talked about Group of Death earlier. Tom Speller made the final of the UK Pop Culture Challenge, but he's also came second in the first Brain of Online Quiz League. And then won the second tier. So Tom's really going to be strong on all areas. Harry's a mastermind finalist
from last year, yeah. So Harry is a young player, but he's advancing at a really rapid rate. He's superb. Tom Speller, on top of everything you said, he's getting a 5 2-point average in Quiz League London, where there's no free guests. And then Jim Mudrak, 219th in the world, but I know he's been doing a lot of quizzing as well this side of the pond.
Yes.
Over lockdown. So that one I wouldn't like to call. I think that's a really
the hardest draw I think we've had since the Group of Death game we call. That's a really, really tough game. But based on what Pam said about Ryan, he does sound very hard to beat. But we shall wait and see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why we play the game.
Yeah. Okay, 223, that is Raheem Dina. 151, Joseph O'Donoghue. 61, David Bishop. And 26, seeded player, UK TV star, Barry Simmons. So this is an all UK tie, which is great for scheduling. Although Raheem, on his entry form, whilst he is based in the UK, he did put UK/Seychelles. So maybe I should call him Seychelles, and we've got 18 nationalities in the competition. Barry needs no real instruction, does he, Gareth?
No, I mean, he's been around the circuit a long time, playing in Yorkshire and doing various TV things before he became an egghead regular quizzer on TV. But he's very strong on history, art, literature, that side of things. He was 16th on art and culture in the last British Quiz Championship. He is a really good, reliable quizzer on this curriculum. Raheem Dina, 18.12 average in QB League, solid player, and Joseph O'Donoghue, 290th in the world Quizzing Championship. David Bishop. I don't think I've got anything on. Yeah.
No, David captains a team in OQL UK Division 6 or 7. I can't tell you exactly which one. Joseph plays for the Underdogs. I know that. I suspect Barry's a cut above at this stage. Raheem, I know, is improving all the time. I think Barry's the quality player there, but all three of the others have got potential and are improving. So who knows if it suits them, what will happen. And we'll take game 18, please. Okay, we start with number 74. That is O'Donnell O'Driscoll from Ireland. 127, Jamie McNeil. 284 is a name I'm not familiar with, William Blashka. And 280, our seeded player from France, Vincent Rousset. So Donal is Irish, did quite well in the Pop Culture Challenge, I think he got knocked out by my sister, which was quite funny. Really nice guy, does a bit of stand-up comedy as well. Jamie is a really great guy, and a really always improving. His team took Crabs to a tiebreak in the Connections League, thanks to Jamie, really, on the buzz around, but he wasn't captain. So they lost the tiebreaker because he wasn't the captain there, which was really unlucky. Vincent is a top French quizzer. Played in Pop Culture Challenge. I'm not sure about how good he is on the International Culture Challenge, but if Rob and Hugh have decided to see him, he must be superb.
Yeah, I think they made a semi-final in the first iteration of this competition. And he's got 15 average in points per game in QB League, so he's playing this sort of stuff all the time. Donald O'Driscoll put something on Facebook earlier about, he might get stuffed in this. But, I tell you what, players like Donald have emerged during lockdown, and they are the sort of people who cause surprises in this sort of competition.
Do we know much about William? Is he American?
Yeah, well, he plays in Learned League, and he's on the American list. I don't know anything about him personally, but his Learned League stats suggest that this competition is right up his alley with, better than 900 average in world history, American history, geography, and current events. So. Oh
gosh, that's fantastically strong. So he could be the dark horse in that one for sure. And then the whole competition based on those stats, that's really impressive. So that'll be good to see. So actually we've got 4 different nationalities there, but at least 3 of them are very similar time zones. Right, and we'll have the next game, please. 116, that is Ewan Pope from the UK. 46, our seeded player, one of the Americans, it's Chris White. 115, Ian Vellante from the UK. And 62, I said I'd mention this when we said his name, £1 million winner on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it's David Edwards. So if you want to start with our seeded player here, Pam, who I believe is American.
Yeah, in OQL, 4.16 twos per game in OQL. I don't know. Can I pull up his Learned League stats? No, there are 4 white C somethings on Learned League, and I didn't know if he was from Union, New Jersey, Brooklyn, New York, or Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I don't know whose stats to read out.
I'm gambling, Pam, that he is the Chris White who has been destroying teams in QB League. Certainly last season, he absolutely did. He was like, if not top, second in the individual averages. Wow. So whoever looks best on Learned League, I think it's him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Chris, or that White C. That is White C.U. from Brooklyn, who is above 900 in world history, American history, classical music, geography.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. David, I would say he was the first male £1 million winner on Who Wants to Be There in the UK. Really, absolutely lovely guy. Participated in a lot of quizzes and is still really strong on all areas. Ian Vellante.
Oh, sorry, John. I've had the privilege of playing with him on the Welsh national team. He's got phenomenal geography knowledge. He's got a science background. He's a good history. He's a great player. Brain of Britain, mastermind champion. He's a regular on Round Britain quiz. David Edwards is made for this format. If he can play the Mimir game, the knowledge, is there. So, he's a serious player.
Yeah. Ian Vellante, lovely, really great guy, plays a lot of OQL events based up in Scotland. Beat my team on Only Connect, which I'm not bitter about at all. And he'll do he generally is better at the higher brow subjects. Ewan Pope is a very new quizzer, plays for that unbeaten team though in OQL Division 7. and is a real up-and-comer. So we'll see how. I think he may find that a bit hard because that's a really tough heat with Chris, David, and Ian. But that'll be a good game to watch for sure.
Tough heat, but he's doing well in QB League. So, you know, again, there are signs.
Yeah, great. Okay, game 20. 265 is our seeded player. That's Thomas Colsaiter. 266, Tiffany Hoare. 259 is Steve Coates. And 140 is a name I'm not familiar with, is Jing Feng. So we've got two Brits. I think Thomas is Norwegian. Do we know much about Jing, either of you?
Only what I could find on Learned League, which suggests strengths in math and geography particularly. But yeah, but they Jing Feng was referred by Yogesh, so you know, if he's been training, then you know, if he's got a protege.
Well, that would be exciting. Yeah, Yogesh has a great blog as well, I believe, which regularly posts some very useful questions. So if Jing is following that, then that may very well help him in this game.
But my pick here is Thomas Colsaiter. He was 13th in the world in the World Championships this year.
Wow.
He's a regular top 10 finisher in the European Championships individuals. He was a member of the Norway team that won the EQC in 2018. He's also won the European Club Championship with his team. He is just phenomenal. And he's doing it not in his first language. And that's what impresses me about some of these international quizzes is how good they are, i.e. way better than me, in their second, third, sometimes fourth language. He is absolutely brilliant. You know, other than that, Tiffany Hoare, she plays in the QLL for In the Line of Fire. So she's got some good experience.
And her strength really lies in this syllabus rather than pop culture for sure. I think she'd be one of the top ballet quizzes. She knows an awful lot about ballet and the high art. So I think this will suit her nicely. I think Steve is, don't know too much about him, but I believe he's more of a pop culture type quizzer. So he may struggle, especially in that quite tough heat. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll take game 21, please. Okay, 112 is Ian Fennell. 133 is our seeded player. And I think possibly the top ranked American at the moment, Jeff King. 137 from the Philippines is Junjevia. And 189 from Romania, and again, I apologize for pronunciation, there is Mihai Alexandru Ilioi. So again, sorry if I pronounced that badly. That's quite an international heat.
It really is. We've got four nationalities there. We've got Ian Fennell, who won the first outing of the Quiz Omnium on All Things Quiz against some very stiff opposition, including Joey Goldman. So, you know, he's got this highbrow or high culture knowledge that we're looking at here. And Mihai from Romania, 251st in the world, so he's competing at this level. Jun, I think, made it to one of the tier finals of one of the OQL Mimir competitions recently.
He did. I think that was Brain of Online Quiz League.
Yeah,
I think he reached one of the finals, and obviously based in the Philippines, playing at all kinds of hours. Sadly, that's why his team had to drop out of the league because they were setting alarms for 3 a.m. to get up and play matches, and it wasn't really worth it, unfortunately, but it was really nice of them to have a go. And Pam, if you want to tell us about Jeff.
Yeah, well, having played both against his team and on his team this week in 2 different competitions, it's much better when he's on your team. Although we did manage to beat them in OQL USA, the first time they've been beaten this season, so that's nice. But he is the top-ranked individual quizzer in OQL USA with 6.62 a game. So
that's phenomenal.
Not too shabby. And
39th in the world as well.
Yeah, I think
and he really keeps up with the studying, so he's only getting better.
Yeah, and that's important because I know what our setters are like, and then they'll be looking for more innovative questions, so it won't be the kind of things that people have been answering week in, week out. So that's really good. Be a tough game to schedule, I expect, but good luck with that. And if you need any help, let us know. We've got 4 nationalities there, which is the beauty of this competition, though. I love that we've got that all mixed in there. And then we'll take game 22. 150 is Johnny Bonville Ginn. 237 is our seeded player, is Ross Evans. I think he might be Australian. 277 from the USA, that is, and again, apologies for the pronunciation, Veronica Avishit Vadakan. And 212 is Paul Catane from the UK.
Well, I can jump in with Veronica. She was a Tournament of Champions finalist in the same tournament as so she definitely has broad knowledge, and she's also in OQL and Learned League. So she, is definitely one to watch out for. Definitely skills in the high arts, again, like theater, fine arts.
I think I have to say, I think she's got my favourite name of anyone in the competition.
It's very pleasant to say.
Yes, it just rolls off the tongue. Veronica Bishop-Vadakan. I love that. Am I right that Ross is Australian?
Yeah, Ross is Australian. He came 47th in the world this year. So he is up there as one of the top 2, I think, Australian players. And he's averaging 16.67 per game in QB League. So again, he's holding his own in a tough competition.
Johnny is a regular player who makes OQL Team of the Week in the UK. I'm regularly seeing his name in there week in, week out. It's obviously very strong. And Paul, I think, is a Division 1 or 2 player. So I think this is actually quite a tough game. Wouldn't want to pick out a winner. Ross, obviously, the seed, and based on what Gareth said, he should win. But I think everybody's got a lot of potential in there, so that should be a really good game. Okay, and we'll take game 23. 106, that is Harish Mopur. 236 is Ros James. 172, our seeded player making his OQL debut, which is great to see, Mark Grant. And 171 is Mark Eden. So I believe Harish plays in OQL USA. Is that right? Maybe not.
Nope, he was on my list. Yes, you are right. And he's very good at world history in Learned League. I did not see his OQL USA stats on the individual page, but yeah, his world history is above 900 again.
I think his team may have dropped out, possibly. I'm not sure on that, but Mark Grant is probably one we really want to talk about, don't we, Gareth?
Well, if this was a written quiz and you took all the questions that we played in this tournament and it was done in writing, Mark would probably be where my money is. I think the Mimir format is the randomizing factor here, but he is so good. He's the current playing captain of the Welsh national team. He's a mastermind grand final runner-up. He's phenomenally strong on classical music and art particularly, but he's just great all round. He's currently averaging 6.52s in QLL and a 40 points per game average in QB League. He is phenomenal. This competition is made for his knowledge base. As I say, it's the gameplay of Mimir that is the only thing that could stop him getting to the final, in my view. I really tip him and I really rate him.
Oh yeah, I think he's a very exciting addition. Ros plays in the OQL for the MK Quizards, also plays in the Milton Keynes League. Mark, relatively new to OQL UK. I think I don't know too much about him, but I see the name a lot, so I think he's doing quite well, which is always nice. All right, game 24, please. Okay, number 31 is Ben Spicer. 114, Ian Riddock. 24, our seeded player and grand finalist from last time. I think they came second. That's Oroni Gupta. And 16, Andy Christley. So we've got 2 British players, 2 Americans. What do you know about 2 Americans? Are both very strong, aren't they, Pam?
Yeah, Oroni is in Division 1 in OQL, averaging 4.62s per game. Also just very, very strong at geography in Learned League. So that's always impressive to me because I'm bad at geography.
But they made the grand final last time, which just that's incredible quality. And I think they were second overall, but I would need to double check. I don't have the results. Is Andy Christie American as well, or am I? Maybe he's not. Maybe I'm
He's not on my list. Sorry.
No, I've got him down as British, but I don't really
know too
much.
Sorry, Andy. Yes, you are British.
Ian Riddock, I know he comes sometimes to the Northampton venue of the Quiz Grand Prix that I run. 691st in the world. He's very much more for the traditional curriculum, which is why the Grand Prix and Worlds don't really suit him, because the pop culture entertainment stuff really isn't his bag. But he could do well in this.
Yeah. And Ben Spicer found us after some tweets from Dara Ennis from The Chase on Twitter. So that was really good to bring in some new quizzes, and Ben's been really enjoying the league. So that's always nice to see, and we love to bring new people into the world of quizzing. And we'll take the next game. Okay, number 81, that is Eleanor Ayres. 267 is Tim Cave, a name I'm not familiar with. 109 is Hugh Binney, our seeded player, and 156 is Justin Wong. So we've got two names I'm not particularly familiar with. They might well be American players. Eleanor I know quite well. She was a £125,000 winner on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Her Mastermind episode aired recently, and I think it's long enough ago that I can congratulate her on her superb victory. Hugh, is he a Only Connect champion and University Challenge champion?
Certainly a UC player. I think he might also have been on Joey's team, maybe in OC. But he's very good at this sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, here we a great addition. Do we know much about Tim and Justin?
I don't know Justin, but Tim plays in OQL USA, 3.25 chews a game, and in Learned League, excellent in classical music and American history. So.
And Justin was 234th in the World Championships. He's got a 15 average points per game in QB League. So, good, solid player here.
Yeah, so everybody's quite strong there. There's no weaknesses in that game at all. But, I mean, Hugh's history of TV performance is fantastic. So we'll see how he gets on there. Right, and we'll have a game 26. 243 is Sarah Greenan. 202 is Nina Grant. 147 is John Clapworthy, and 255 is Stanley Wang, our senior player. So this is this is all UK players. Sorry, Pam. But Stanley is a superb quizzer. He played in the first season of the league, and his team won Division 2. So he's got OQL trophies. And is really, really strong in this format. Is he on University Challenge recently, or?
I think he's been on UC. He's also my captain in QB League. He is a really good player. He's at 47.5 average in QB League. He picks up stuff from all over the curriculum. This is a guy who will go for science, geography, history, philosophy, whatever. So he's a great player. So yeah, Stanley is superb. John, 467th in the world.
John's a good quizzer. He captains his team in OQL UK, and I think they either won their division last season or were runners up. They're now named the Tyrell Corporation, and John's a really nice guy. Nina does very well. They play for Amoebas in Division 1 in OQL, one of the few teams who've been there every season, and they've played most games. That's great for Nina. And Sarah plays for the Airedale. Others have got a lot of quizzing ability, a lot of experience, so it should be a fun game.
Just based on her QB League performances, they've been very good recently.
Okay, fair enough. And we'll have game 27. Number 66, David Hogg. 174, US player seeded, Mark Ryder. 180, Matthew Childers, I think is also American. And 120, a name I'm not familiar with, Jacob McLaughlin. So maybe turning very much to you here, Pam.
Yeah, Mark Ryder somehow didn't make it onto the Americans list that I have, but of course, everyone knows how strong he is in world quizzing. I know he'll be going to Krakow with for the Quiz Olympiad next weekend. He has, just an excellent reputation. Specifically, he's good at classical music, top notch on Learned League, and then of course world history and American history and all the things that you'd expect someone who's had such success in world quizzing to be good at.
He's also a dentist, so he's probably going to pick up any biological science stuff that's out there. He's multifaceted. He's great. As I say, he's been to the European Championships most years, so he has been absorbing the tough international curriculum firsthand.
Yeah. And he's also always looking to learn. So he entered the Pop Culture Challenge in the UK this season just to give it a go. And I think he ended up in about tier 17 or 18 because he prefers high, but he's better at the highbrow stuff. And obviously it's very UK centric. But he was smiling all the way through and he made his tier finals. That was great. So really nice guy. Happy to see there. David plays for Disparate Origins, I think, in Division 2. Of OQL UK. I think they were the team that relegated you last season, actually, Gareth. So
yeah, we don't like to talk about that. But he's written questions for All Things Quiz, so I like him, even though he relegated us. Yeah.
Right. And are Matthew and Jacob both American?
Matthew Childers is definitely American, plays in OQL, averages 4.2s a game, strong at math and science and American history.
And yeah, Jacob is a Bristol University quiz bowl legend, according to Ian O'Reilly in the chat. So,
right, okay.
Yes.
Quiz Bowl legend is going to be very good on this syllabus, you'd expect.
Yeah.
So that looks like quite a tough heat, but I think it's very hard to bet against Mark Ryder, against whoever he'd drawn in this format. An excellent quizzer. And game 28, please. 165, that is Lauren Burt. 63 is David Gregson. Number 2, Avinath Kishore. And 248 is our seeded player, Shane Whitlock. I think Shane's American.
Yeah, as is Lauren. Lauren is on a team in my division in the Quizzing World Cup thing, or Quiz Nations, whatever they're calling it these days, and has some really excellent knowledge across the board and things that, everyone will be sitting there staring at the screen and he's like, it's this. So tough competitor. Also in Learned League, above 900 in American history, world history, geography, classical music. But Shane Whitlock, many Jeopardy Superstar tournaments. He's on the official Quizzing Olympiad team for America next week. So I think despite Lauren Burt's strengths, Shane Whitlock of the Americans is definitely the one to beat.
Shane was 18th in the world this year.
Wow.
So, this is heavyweight stuff.
Yeah. Dave Gregson is a fantastic quizzer, but we know that he is much better at the pop culture side of things. Came second in the first season. I think he just missed out on I can't remember where he came this season. I don't think
Tier 2. I can't remember if he won it, but he certainly knocked me out. He is brilliant at lowbrow. But also he's really good at playing the game, which is key when it comes to Mimir. And I think that can make the difference. So I don't know what his knowledge is like in kind of the arts and history and science, etc. But I do know he knows how to play Mimir.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Avinath. He's on the OQL UK playtesters, but I don't think I've ever met him yet on Zoom. So hopefully they'll enjoy the competition and have a fun time and get to make a name for themselves. And on that, we'll have game 29. 111, that is Ian Clark. 197 is Neil McCaskill. 228, Richard Hopkins. And 215, our seeded player, all-round quiz legend and nice guy, is Peter Edis. So again, Pam, this is an all UK heat, and it's quite a tough one, really. Yeah.
This is a brute. I mean, I don't know too much about Richard. 622nd in the world, so I will probably think he will.
He's up against it with this in this.
Yeah,
game.
I mean, Peter Edis is one of the quietly outstanding players of quiz. Very self-effacing, but he won Brain of London in 2016. He's done brilliantly across all formats during lockdown. He's just got no real chinks in his armor. So, his knowledge is fantastic. I would probably bet on him to go through. But then Ian Clark is a Quiz League London player, superb on literature, art, classical music. He's a brilliant QLL and European player. He averages 5.2s in QLL. He is just made for this format. And then Neil McCaskill, he's from your part of the world, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He plays, I think he's now in the Southport Quiz League, part of the Merseyside Quiz League, but this syllabus is really his kind of quiz. He hates the sport, he hates pop culture. This is really up his street. He's a really nice guy and a very strong quizzer. I think Peter will still win. I think Peter's just too strong. But I think the other three are really nice people and it will suit them. So they'll be taking points everywhere. So Peter won't have it easy, but I do think he'll come through there for sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll have game 30. Excuse me. Okay, 244 is Sarah Trevarthen. 263, our seeded player is Thomas the Bock. 214 is Paul Paquet, very well known in North America. And 207 is Pam Douglas from the UK. So we've got two British quizzers, one Belgian who I think lives in the UK, and then Paul is a massive
Canadian.
name. Yeah, Canadian, massive name in the US, isn't he? Quizzing titles.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas de Bock, he lives and breathes University Challenge and that world and Quiz Bowl. You know, he's very knowledgeable. We've had him on Quizzy Monday talking about it. He knows what he's on about. He's also been on things like Only Connect and Mastermind. So, you know, he's a good player. Pam Douglas is a Grand Prix regular, comes to my venue, very solid player. I don't think she will be able to beat Thomas in this format. But nonetheless, you know, she'll give a good showing of herself. Sarah, 227th in the world, 23.33 points per game in QB League. You know, she's a good player on this sort of curriculum. And Paul runs the Trivia Hall of Fame, well known in North America. Quizmaster in Canada, runs many events, has been to the EQC many times. So, you know, he is knowledgeable in the international curriculum. It's a good heat.
Yeah. Does Paul play OQL USA? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. No, he does. He does. He's just not apparently in our division. Averaging currently 3.42s a game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Sarah's really strong as well across all things. I think that could be quite easy. I think all four players are quite strong there. Thomas is the seed, but I would think that would be quite a close game overall, but we'll see, because Thomas is very good. Yeah,
I think that they'll all put in a decent showing. I think that'll be an interesting match.
Yeah, okay, great. And we'll have the next one, please. Okay, number 53. That is Dan Lawson, who's from the Wirral, so I'll be happy to talk about him. 141, Joe Ashdown. 105 is Harry Kadapa, and 75 is our seeded player and one of the top European quizzers, and I'm not very good at pronouncing her name, I'm afraid, Dorjana Siriola. Yeah, so I'll start with Dan because I know Dan quite. Oh, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and the names haven't come up. That's all. Yeah. So Dan Lawson is from the Wirral. He was University Challenge finalist, I think, captain in the Magdalen team last season. Helped out loads with the MQL buzzer quiz. He was our question editor. Really nice guy. Going to be a doctor very soon. Love to see him do very well. And I think he's an excellent quizzer as well, especially on the syllabus. But Dorjana is just level above, I think. There.
Yeah, if I could pick that up, it's Doriana.
Sorry, yes.
Many years of knowing her. And for a long time, she was the top woman in the world in the World Quizzing Championships. She's just been superb. She was 44th this year. She won, I believe, she's a series champion on both University Challenge and University Challenge for the professionals. She's got a really good background in this sort of world, and she's a really good player. So yeah, one to look out for in the upper tiers of this tournament.
Absolutely. Joe is much more of a pop culture style quizzer, really lovely guy, and whatever happens, he'll enjoy his matches, which is great. Is Harry in the OQL USA?
And he's playing in OQL USA, also in Learned League. Really excellent at current events in the world history, and also has not missed a math question in 28 seasons. So
wow. But math definitely falls into the science section, so you don't want to get against him when that happens. That's incredible. Right, so we'll have the next game, please. 279 is Vince O'Connor. 184 is our seeded player, Max Fitzjames. 258 is Steve Childs, and 76 is Drew Shearer. So Drew's the only American in this game. The other three, all well known in the UK, on the UK games. Drew's very strong, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on 4 out of 5 Cats, which is one of the top teams in Division 1 in OQL. Also an A-Rundler in Learned League, strong at literature and world history, as well as a whole bunch of pop culture stuff that isn't going to come up here. But, you know, he's got a lot of knowledge.
Well, I've got to say he's very good at pop culture because I think my sister beat him in a game in the Pop Culture Challenge in the UK. So that's I'll let her know that. She'll be very happy. Max play tests for OQL UK and does really, really well on the highbrow science stuff. There's questions that he gets on there always amaze me, and he's very well earned his seed. And Steve and Vince are both just lovely guys who love their quizzing, and both been doing it for years, both very involved with their own league, both captain their team in OQL. But I do think Max and Drew will be fighting this one out.
Yeah, Max was 94th in the world this year. Drew was 182nd. So what you can draw from that is they're both very good at the international syllabus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Vince and Steve are lovely guys, but I think that they'll struggle to keep up with those two. But they'll enjoy the match and they'll post positive things afterwards, and that's the most important thing for us. Okay, and we'll have game 33. So number 22 is Armand Sanchez. Number 85 is Espen Kibsgaard, a seeded player. Again, apologies if I mispronounced that. 199 is Nick Reed, and 204 is the name I've been dreading having to pronounce, so sorry about this. It's Øystein Ardnevik. Looks Norwegian to me,
yes,
but
yeah.
Oh, good. So we've got, is that 2 Norwegians then in this one game?
Yeah, 2 Norwegians, and they're both really good players. Espen 98th in the world, Øystein 150th in the world. You know, the EQC regulars, World Championship regulars, and you know, good to have a drink with. So you know, they're both very good. Nick Reed knocked me out of a semi-final of Mastermind, so you know, I have no good words to say about him. But he does live in Massum, which is a very nice town. So
it is, yes.
Yeah. No, Nick's all right. Nick's fine. I like Nick.
Yeah. And Armand is American, but
Yeah. He playing in OQL USA, averaging 3-2s a game. He hosts a lot of quizzes online. Yeah.
I love Armand's enthusiasm for everything. It's really positive to see. I read for him when he got his first ever Musketeer, and he really celebrated. It was really nice. And then he went on to win his tier as well, which was lovely. He was really over the moon at that. So I love his enthusiasm. But I suspect these 2 Norwegians are going to be a bit too strong, unfortunately. But it'll be a good game. I'd like to see how that plays out. All right, game 34. 149 is our seeded player, Jonathan Elliott. I think he's American, I'm not too sure.
No,
British, sorry about that. 69 is Dhruv Sharma. Number 23, Ashton Davis, who I know well from the UK scene. And 283 is Will Vince, also British. So that's all European then, I'm afraid, Pam.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting lineup. Jonathan Elliott is a really great quiz bowl player, so I expect him to do very well. Indication of quite how good he is on the international tough syllabus. 58.33 average points per game in QB League.
Wow,
that's averaging like 6 starters out of 20. That is just phenomenal. He's really good. Drew has written Questions for All Things Quiz, so we like him. And yeah, the other guys, people I've come across, but I don't know too much about them other than that they're delightful.
Yeah, Ashton and Will are both lovely people. Ashton, he won Brain of Online Quiz League 2 in our very first season, so obviously very good at this format. Plays in, I think he plays for Marauders in Division 2 now for OQL. He's changed teams a few times, so I'm not sure. And Will plays for Coffee with Cream. And it's a delight and a really nice read. I really like engaging with Will. So that's a really nice game. I'd be happy to read it if it fits my schedule anyway. So that'll be a good one. Yeah. Okay, next game. Number 95 is a name I'm going to struggle with pronouncing, I'm sorry. Gautam Dembakodi. 170 is our seeded player from Romania. That's Marius Bogdan Tudor. 60 is Dave Trent, who I know well from the Wirral League. And 79 is Eden Kay. So again, I'm afraid it's all European, I think. Oh no, I assume.
Gautam plays in OQL USA, but I really don't know much about him beyond that. So I don't think I have any good insights.
No, I'm afraid I don't know. No, this is his first competition, which I've been involved with, but hopefully he'll be good. I'm happy to talk about Dave and Eden because I know both of them well. Dave plays in the Wirral Quiz League for Shipwrecked, who I mentioned earlier, my favourite team. They're in OQL Division 6. I think he more is better at the pop culture side of things. They'll be using this competition for experience. Eden is just the loveliest guy you'll meet. He'll sit through a quiz. He may not know the answers, but he will smile the whole way through. And I just love people like that who just enjoy the event and love learning. So it's great to see him in that game with Dave. Marius is one of the top Romanian quizzes, Gareth. So I suppose you'll have the best insights on him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't have too much, except he's been involved in organising competitions as well as in playing them. And Romania is really an emerging area in terms of quiz, probably since the EQC, but they're really developing. I'm not surprised to see a player like Marius, being seeded here, because one of the things that's happened the last few years, but certainly the last 18 months to 2 years, has been the emergence of people from all over the world rather than the traditional powerhouses. Marius is one of those.
Yeah, and I think he seems really nice whenever I've spoken to him over Facebook. So I suspect he'll probably come through there with a win. I think Gotham will be his biggest rival, but we don't know too much about him either. So should be an interesting game to see how that plays out. And the next game takes us up to the halfway point. So that's 194. That is Ned Williams. Number 18, Annabelle Lloyd. 198 is Nick Mortimer, who always wins tiers. We'll talk about that in a second. And 119, our seeded player, is Jack Pollock. So, sorry, Pam, another all-European game.
I'll just sit back and
coming out.
Put your feet up, make yourself a brew. It'll be fine.
I'll start with Nick, because Nick has, he's just the winner. He won a tier in Pop Culture Challenge 1. He won a tier in International Culture Challenge. He retained his tier in Pop Culture Challenge 2, which was tier 3, so that's really good. But not only that, he won the prediction competition both times as to the finals. So there's just something about Nick that says, I'm a winner. So you're always going to struggle to bet against him in any field. But Jack's exceptional, isn't he? And really up and coming.
Jack is really exceptional. I mean, Nick is great. He's a QLL player as well. He's strong across multiple subjects. 23.33 average in QB League. But Jack Pollock is a Scottish player, 35th in the World Championships.
Wow.
Just got to take him seriously. Annabelle Lloyd plays in QLL. She does Grand Prix. 383rd, I think, in the world. So, she's less likely to be troubling first place here. So, I don't really know anything about Ned Williams. So
no, Ned's relative. Yeah, Ned plays in most OQL competitions, but I've not actually met with him at any point. But I'm sure he'll enjoy the competition. But I think we're looking at between Jack and Nick there.
I think they'll be jousting for first and second, those two.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, let's see if we can get some Americans for you, Pam. Let's have game 37. Number 27, Bastian Fischer, I think it's German. 73, Dom Belcher. 201, Niku Perojuk, I think it's Croatian. And 71 is seeded player Didier Breyer. So we've got 4 Europeans, but all 4 different nationalities. Wow, that's a fun game.
I mean, the standout one there is Didier by a long chalk. Second in the World Championships this year. He has been winning Grand Prix. He has been winning all sorts of tournaments. Hasn't replicated his long form performance into something like Mimir, but I wouldn't bet against him because he is strong across all of the topics that we faced in this competition. If he can play the game right, he's going to be up there.
Yeah, but he's got some tough. Bastian is a very strong German quizzer. Niku, I think, is a very strong Croatian. And Dom is a quiz bowler from the UK, so the syllabus is really going to suit him. So I think that's actually a very tough heat for all 4.
I mean, Dom 22.5 average QB League, Niku 157th in the world. They're good players, but I say Didier is just so good. I mean,
he's elite, isn't he? He's an absolutely quality quizzer. So yeah. Okay, next game then. Right, 285 is Wim Van Rie, not a name I'm familiar with. 271 is Tony Bennett, the quizzer, not the singer. Sorry, we do have a few names that are famous names. But that is Tom Bennett. Tony Bennett is a quizzer. 59 is Dave Ryan, who I know from the World Quiz League. And 118 from Australia, seeded player Issa Schultz. So do either of you know anything about Vim? I assume it's pronounced
250th in the world. So he has been competing. He's from Belgium. Yes. That's really it. I found him on the list. Tony Bennett plays for Quizzard Sleeve in QLL Division 3. He got 6 twos in his only performance this season so far. So we don't really know too much about him.
He does really well in OQL UK. Yeah. He made the All-Star team, I believe, or the All-Star rookie team. So he's a really strong player, averages about 5 twos.
Yeah.
Very well.
Issa Schultz is a chaser on the Australian version of the chase. Really good player. Always finishes in the top 50 of the World Championships. 34.44 average in QB League. So, again, a serious player here.
And Dave Ryan was on my team in the Wirral Quiz League when we won the MQL Buzzer Quiz Plate. So Dave's a really strong quizzer, has areas strengths across the board. I don't think any of those will keep up with Issa, but I think the battle for second place is wide open there. Should be really interesting. Yeah. All right, next game, please. Okay, number 44, definitely American, Chris Moody. Okay, 68 is Debashri Maitra. Again, that's a name I'm not familiar with. 166, Manoj Saranathan, and 129 is Cedar player Jason Hess. So Pam, over to you.
2 Americans, yay. Chris Moody plays in OQL, averaging 3.2 to the game. Strengths in Learned League at American and World History, but obviously the American to watch here is Jason Hess, who is currently in the top 10 individuals in OQL USA, averaging 5.8 to the game, and is, lots of strengths, but particularly math and science and geography. So a good match for this kind of competition.
Jason's also probably one of the very best readers we've got in OQL. He does a really fantastic job whenever he helps out with OQL UK, which we appreciate. And Manoj, I believe, is Indian but living in the US because he was on the Very Stable Geniuses team, I think, that now play in OQL UK because they prefer the free guest rule, which is fair enough. But this kind of quiz really is much more his style. Much prefers the highbrow, the culture stuff rather than the sport and the TV, which was never really something that would help him. Debashri, I don't know much about or anything really. No, sorry, Debashri. I believe probably one of the new Indian quizzes. We've got a lot of them entering this season. So best of luck to you, and I hope you enjoy the competition. Is all I can say. But okay, next game. 55 is Darius Darulis, who I believe is our only Lithuanian quizzer. 45, we're going back to the USA for our seeded player, very strong quizzer, Chris Ottolino. 203 from the UK, Ollie Garner. 42 back to the USA for Cheyenne Fletcher. So Pam, we can start again.
Sure. Chris is going to be in the Connections Online Finals this evening. Plug for that. Excellent at history, literature, geography, averaging more than 5 to the game in OQL USA. So definitely strong at many different types of quizzing. And Cheyenne Fletcher, I don't know so much about, but does play in OQL, appears to be very good at geography among the highbrow subjects. But he's averaging more 4.3 to the game in OQL USA. So clearly some other strengths as well.
Yeah, that's really strong. I believe he played in the Pop Culture Challenge as well in the UK and did okay. It's always much harder playing in a different country to where you're from. Ollie's a UK quizzer. I think he's on the playtesting team at the moment, so obviously not got a team.
He plays for Fit for Purpose in Quiz League London Division 1, averaging 3.33 at the moment, which is good in a fiercely competitive league with no free guests. He's good. As for Darius and Lithuania, the only thing I know about Lithuanian quiz is that they have a format called Protmosis, which is a very iterative way of getting to answers. Really interesting quiz format that's not caught on anywhere else. That's all I know about Lithuanian quiz.
Well, I think Darius has been on University Challenge recently, so obviously this kind of format's going to suit him. This syllabus for sure. All right, next game. Number 70 is Diane Halligan. Absolutely lovely person. 157, Karen Alford, also really, really nice. I like both of those very much. 92, Fraser Cameron. So we're all British so far. And then we go to the USA for our seeded player in Brad Fisher, who I don't know anything about, I'm afraid.
Well, he is also in the Connections Online Finals this evening. On the boys. Excellent at history and classical music. Their team is also in Division 1 of OQL, where he's averaging 4.5 to the game. So
that's really good. And the final, I believe, was hosted perfectly.
Absolutely.
yeah. That goes live soon. So if you do want to watch it, I believe it's a fantastic game. Pam hosted for us. It was between the boys and Wednesday's OQL USA connections to OQL USA. It was a really brilliant final, I believe. So definitely worth a watch when that goes live.
As I said in the video there, it was hosted on a Thursday and it was hosted by me. So neither the boys nor the Wednesdays had a home field advantage. So.
Very good. Karen plays, I think, for the Coffee with Cream team, so that's OQL UK Division 4 or 5. Always enjoys the quizzes that we put on. Really nice person, good attitude, which is what we love. Diane, you must have known for a long time.
I've known her a long time. She's one of the loveliest people in quiz. She's done a lot on TV, but also quiz leagues, Grand Prix. Very strong in the classic curriculum. She's been a Mastermind Grand Finalist. You know, don't write off Diane unless you want to have egg on your face. She's a great player. Fraser Cameron, really good quiz league London player. He plays in Division 2, averaging 4.5 twos at the moment. He is a really good player. I mean, I couldn't necessarily pick a winner from this lineup. They all look pretty good to me.
I think Brad sounds very strong. I'm fairly sure Fraser won a tier last year, and either this or Lowborough. I'm sure I remember posting the trophy out to him. So he's definitely got some skills there. I think based on what I've heard, Brad's probably the favourite, but that's a tough game. Okay, game 42. 273. I'll see the player from Norway, Tor Dahl. 34. Brian Thompson, who came to my house earlier today, which I'll explain at shortly. Number 25 is Balaji Srinivasan from OQL USA, but playing in the UK division at the moment. And 146, a name I'm not familiar with, is Jomi Alapatu. I guess, Gareth, if you want to start with Tor.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember what I was saying about Thomas Collisetter, you know, you could say much the same about Tor. He's a tremendous international curriculum quizzer, 41st in the World Championship this year. Again, a member of the Norwegian team that's won the European Championships in 2018. He's been a mainstay of that team for as long as I've been going, which was 2006. Just a brilliant quizzer. Yeah, I mean, I again, knowing how good he is firsthand, I find it hard to look past him, but I don't know some of the other players. I mean, John Violet is averaging 24.17 in QB League. That's as much as I know really on the others.
Is that, you mean it's not John Violet, it's Jomi Alapatu?
Jomi, well, I don't know anything about them. Sorry, I picked the wrong one off my list. Yep.
I can tell you a little about Jomi Alapatu, but not too much. Playing in OQL USA, averaging 3.32s a game. By far, the strongest category in Learning League is math. Okay,
so he'll be looking for the science. Well, Balaji is another player who was on the Very Stable Geniuses team, so they've moved from OQL USA to OQL UK. And again, this kind of syllabus really suits him much more than anything that's got any pop culture in it, and that's why they play OQL UK, because at least they can have a guess. Really lovely to chat to as well, so he'll do well. Brian Thompson was responsible for getting me into quiz, which I've mentioned many times. He ran the quiz league at my school, the quiz club at my school, which is when I really got into it. He's also secretary of the Merseyside Quiz League, so really important person in quiz in the Northwest in the UK. He's also very good, and he's absolutely lovely. He popped round early to drop off some buzzers for the OQL buzzer quiz that he's happily lent to me. I really like Brian a lot. Balaji's really nice. Don't know Joe yet. I think Tor is probably, again, that level above, but I think everyone will get some points. That'll be a good game, I'm sure. And we'll move on to game 43. Number 38 is Cathal Dunn. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. All right. 257 is seeded player who I think we all know quite well. It's Steve Bannerman. 288 is Zach Narlick. And 231 UK is Rob Jones. So I know Steve obviously as basically the man in charge of OQL USA. He's the commissioner there, does an absolutely fantastic job. But I don't really know much about Steve the quizzer, so I'll pass that to you, Pam.
I mean, Steve is an excellent quizzer. One of the few people to have taken money home from a ill-fated show called 500 Questions. But yeah, just strong statistics across the board, history, geography, literature. yeah, wouldn't want to run into him in one of these games.
To flesh that out, one more fact: 14th in the World Championships this year.
Wow.
But this is not just a guy who runs things; he knows a lot of stuff. Yeah, great player, great player.
Great, yeah, and we appreciate everything he does for OQL USA, because without him, there would be no competition. Zach's also American, isn't he?
Yes, he is. In OQL USA, averaging better than 4 twos a game, very strong A-Rundler in Learned League. So definitely good. Steve probably a little better.
Yeah. Cathal's fairly new to OQL UK. I believe Irish, but I may be wrong there. I don't know much more beyond that, I'm afraid. Rob's quite a well-known name on the UK circuit, isn't he? But yeah, maybe is he more better at the pop culture side of things?
Yeah, so I came across him in the later stages of the Pop Culture Challenge, and he was a really good player in some, there's some really tough matches in the conclusion of that tournament. So I know he's really good at the PCC curriculum. I don't know where he stands on the ICC curriculum.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see. But I think anyone who drew Steve was always going to have a tough first game.
Yeah.
Okay, game 44. Number 11 is Andrew Fanco. 209 is Patrick Carthy, seeded player from Ireland. 181, Matthew Marcus. And 196 is Neil DeMarco. So Matthew plays OQL UK and OQL USA, so we all know a little bit about him. Generally, absolutely lovely guy, and just loves to quiz, it seems.
Yeah, this is a horrible heat, because I think you can make a case. I don't know Neil DeMarco, I have to say, but I think you can make a case for any of the others. Andrew Fanco is a brilliant quizzer. He's a translator, which having knowledge of the languages is so handy in the international curriculum.
Oh, yeah.
If you're making a guess. He's really solid across the breadth of topics, particularly physical geography. He won Quiz Omnium 2 on All Things Quiz. So, really good player there, averaging 17.86 points per game in QB League. So he's really strong. Patrick Carthy, 56.
He's one of the top Irish quizzers, isn't he?
Yeah, one of the very top. 56 in the World Championship, 34.38 average in QB League. So he's great. And then Matthew Marcus, who's kind of straddling the pond. And, this will suit him to a degree. He's just a good all-rounder, an 18.57 average in QB League. So he's, chipping in usefully in this curriculum. So, there's 3 players there that I know, and it'd be hard to pick between them. And then Neil DeMarco is a wild card.
Yeah, that's an evenly balanced game, actually, considering that we have a seed. So I think Matthew and Andrew easily could have been seeded. So that's a tough game for sure. Okay, we'll have game 45. Okay, 227 is Richard Appleyard. 110, Hugh Meredith. 169 is Mario Fernandez. And 269, our seeded player is Tom Benson. So again, we're all Europe here. We got Wales. Mario German or Portuguese? I'm not sure. Richard plays in a lot of competitions. He was part of the Lowbrow Files who won Division 3 of Connections League UK. So he'll be collecting a trophy at the Buzzer Quiz. Tom Benson's a very good quizzer, isn't he, Gareth?
Yeah, absolutely superb. I mean, again, I'm looking at a draw here where I'm trying to think. I mean, Tom, I'm not confusing him, am I? Tom did brilliantly in PCC this year. Am I confusing him with the other Tom?
You're not Tom Adams. Tom Adams won it.
Oh no, confusing. But no, Tom. Okay. Yeah, so Tom Benson. Again, one of the names that you hear a lot, but I haven't got any stats on him. Richard Appleyard's 303rd in the world. It's a game where my lack of knowledge means that I couldn't pick.
No, I'm afraid we don't know much about you guys. Hugh is an OQL UK player. I think for the Strangers on a Train team. I think a Division 4 or 5 at the moment. Always very nice. I think Mario is either German or Portuguese. But yeah, sorry we don't know too much about you guys, but best of luck for the competition, and we'll hopefully know more about you afterwards. And then we'll have game 46. Number 101 4 is seeded player from the USA, Guy Jordan. Number 7, Alexandra Denman. 176 is Martin Webb. And 195 is Neil Coleman from the UK. So, Pam, what do you know about our seeded player here, Guy?
He's an art historian, so watch out if you're coming up against him on an art quad, because he's extremely, extremely strong in that area. But also, history and geography is good. He is in OQL USA, and he is currently averaging 5 twos a game.
Wow, that's really strong. Yeah. Alexandra plays for, I've got Whittington's Cat, they're called now, in OQL Division 4. They used to be Coronoid Android, so I'm sure you played against them before, Gareth. She seems to does very well for that team. Martin Webb is much better known as one of the top sports quizzes in the world. Absolutely phenomenal. And Martin has very kindly offered to run the results thread for us each week this season. So it'll be him who will be starting the results thread and doing the league table updates, and we really appreciate that. It's very helpful. Neil Coleman, I believe, plays Blind Dates to our OQL Division 5, maybe.
Well, he also plays for my Quiz League of London team.
Right.
A recent recruit to the team. A very solid player across lots of different topics. Recently wrote a second friendly on food and drink, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how Neil does with kind of hard fine art, hard classical music, etc. Just from a captaincy point of view, it'd be nice to see how he's doing on these things, just so I know where to go.
But I think Guy's the standout culture player in this. I mean, art historian is always can help you in 2 different areas. So great. Okay, game 47. Number 77 is Dylan Monarik. He's our seeded player in one of the top American quizzes. 84 is Owen O'Reilly. Number 100 is Gilles Bourque, who's Canadian, I think. And 242, a name I'm not familiar with, I'm afraid, is Sanveer Singh. So I'll pass over to you, Pam, because we've got at least 2 North Americans.
Yeah, well, Dylan, obviously, on 4 out of 5 cats, one of the strongest teams in OQL USA, and he's averaging 5.62 a game.
Wow.
So, yeah. And yeah, I don't even know what to, that's sort of like, put the gavel down. Like, what else can you say? But, just excellent across the board.
Dylan came 36th in this year's World Championship, so you've got to take him seriously. Gilles came 709th, so there's going to be a gap between the two of them. But Gilles still did creditably in a tournament with like well over 2,000 competitors. And Ian Ewan, I'm sort of not sure how to pronounce the first name.
I think it's Owen. Owen. I think it's Owen. Yeah, sorry, Owen, if we got that wrong.
Yeah, apologies. But 59.38 average in QB League right now.
Wow, that's superb.
That is monstrous. So, could be a player that's really good under that kind of time pressure and that curriculum.
None of us seem to know much about Sanveer, so I'm sorry about that, Sanveer, but you've got weeks to let us make a name for yourself so everybody knows who you are. And we'll take the next game. Okay, 218 is Pradeep Ramathanam. Again, apologies if I pronounced that wrong. 122, James Devine Stoneman, University Challenge winning captain. 225 is a seeded player who only joined very recently, Rahul Kotholgi, who I believe is one of the top quizzes in India. And number 72, Dmitry Fedorov. I'm not sure where Dmitry's from.
I think he's Canadian.
Right. Do you know much about Dmitry? Does he play OQL USA?
Let me check. He was not on my Americans list, but that doesn't mean he's not in OQL. There he is. Yeah. He plays in the greatest quiz show on Earthsea, averaging 3 twos a game at the moment.
Okay, great. Well, James, we know, is an OQL, is a University Challenge captain, winning captain, which is
for St John's. Yeah, he's really good player. He plays on my QB League team, Königsberg Oilers. 26.67 average points per game, but I don't think that does justice to what he gets that other people wouldn't get. And I think that's really important. The sort of things he's getting in terms of science and social sciences and literature and stuff, he's really good player for this curriculum.
Yeah,
It looks like Dimitri has strengths in world history and classical music. He's only been in Learned League for 4 seasons, but above 900 in world history. So
that's going to be really useful for this. Rahul, if Hugh and Rob have seen fit to see Rahul, they must know a lot about him. I think he's a very strong quizzer. And Pradeep, I'm afraid we don't know much about yet, but we have plenty of time to see what your quizzing abilities are like. And we move into the final third of the draw now. We're getting there. Next game, please. There's a lot of players. Okay, 185 US quizzer, McKinney Sizemore, 128 from the UK, Jason Butler, 221 UK again, Rachel Clark, and 260, I think Canadian, Stephen Beningo.
I have him on my list, so he may well be American. He's definitely played a lot of American. No, he definitely lives in Maryland. Yeah, he's American.
Right, okay, sorry, I don't know why I thought Canadian. Sorry, Stephen.
No, it's okay. He's played a lot of online quizzes over quarantine, so I've seen him in a lot of Zooms. But he is great at history, but especially American history and geography. McKinney has improved like leaps and bounds through quarantine. He runs Gentleman Octopus Trivia with his brother. He's an A-Rundler with good stats, and he is right now tied for 5th in individual stats in OQL USA, averaging 6 twos a game.
That's a really great, that's fantastic, a real improvement as well. And he recently won a tier in the Pop Culture Challenge in the UK, which is great. Rachel is at Bristol University, and I think it's Bristol, and runs their quiz society and is preparing the University Challenge trials as we speak. So I hope that goes well. I think it's Bristol. Sorry, it might be Cardiff actually. So sorry if I've got that wrong, Rachel. And Jason is absolutely lovely guy, forklift truck driver, loves his quizzing, been involved. I think he prefers the pop culture side of things. I think he reached tier 3, but he'll put everything into this and do the best he can. And it's really nice.
He's the sort of person that the COVID era has really kind of opened up a new world. He, as you say, forklift driver from Maidstone. He came on Quizy Monday, really at the start of things, just to comment. But now he's thrown himself into everything, and he's doing really well. I think he got to tier 3 of the PCC.
I think so.
He's never played Quiz League. He's never done Grand Prix. He's a really good player. I don't know how well he can do on ICC, but I tell you what, he will be learning the whole time. He will use this as a learning experience, and he is one of those players who's, I think he's a bit of a natural, and I think we could see great things from him in years to come. It just based on the acceleration he's shown in the last few months.
Great. Okay. All right. Game 50. Number 83 is our seeded player. It's Emma Laslett. I was going to say Mastermind Champion, but I'm not sure on that. So I maybe made a mistake. Oh gosh, 56 Chaser, Dara Ennis, 232 Rob Sobchak, and 220 is Quentin Holt. Now this is a tough game. Oh gosh, that's really tough. Rob's one of the top as a really strong American quizzer, isn't he, Pam?
Yeah, he finished in the top 10 in the Learned League Championship last year, so that's really impressive. And he, in terms of standing out from the other people in this academic syllabus, he is really strong in science, which some other people are, but more seem to be strong in history and geography.
Yeah, he does really well in the Connections League, sets friendlies, and he now writes for OQL USA, so he's a really strong American quizzer. But the 3 Brits he's up against here, Gareth, wow.
Oh, monster. I mean, Emma Laslett, came out through kind of the Quiz Bowl era, went on to Only Connect, did brilliantly, Mastermind Grand Finalist, really strong sort of quiz bowler, member of the Connections Division 1 champions Crabs, and was just phenomenal in that. We'll see tonight whether she goes on to replicate it. And then in QB League, listen to this average, 70.
Wow.
70 points per game average. Emma is phenomenal. Dara Ennis, a chaser, professional quizzer, works as an entomologist. Is it not Dara? Yeah, it's Dara.
No, it is Dara, but Dara's actually withdrawn. I am sorry, I thought I I thought I'd moved him out of this. So we've got people on the reserve list, so that will actually be changed. I am sorry about that, Dara.
Right.
Huge apologies. I thought you weren't on the list. I don't know what's happened there. We'll get that taken care of. I've got a reserve list, so that place will be taken. Sorry.
And then Quentin, former teammate of mine, strong all-round player, plays for Pericardium in Quiz League London Division 1. He's averaging 5 2-pointers. He's just a really, really good player. So yeah, tough.
So whoever gets that reserve spot's got in for a tough one there. So yes, sorry about that. And again, Dara, really apologise if you listened. You did ask me yesterday to make sure you weren't in the draw, and I've dropped the ball there. But we'll take care of it. Sorry about that. I will move on to the next game. Right, 216. A name I'm not familiar with is Phil Sawyer. I think it's brand new first competition for him. 93, Frederick Bush, US quizzer. He's our seeded player. 86 is Ethan Moss, and 210 is Paul Compton. So what do we know about Frederick?
Averaging 4.5 twos in OQL USA, strength, history, and literature.
Okay. Was often commenting last season on the questions. I think quite an opinionated person, but did very well in the competition, which was good. Phil, I believe this is his first proper quiz competition, so interesting to see how he gets on. Ethan's relatively new as well, part of the Sheffield Quiz Society, and doing quite well. Paul, is he playing OQL Division 1 possibly? I think he's quite a strong quizzer. Not sure.
Could be. I'm not. I don't know. I'm afraid. I think this is for me is from the British side of things at least quite an open.
Yeah, I suspect Frederick will come through this. He's a very, very strong quizzer. We'll see how that one goes for sure. I will take the next game. Still waiting for you to come out yet, Pam. You've been crossing off all the players you wanted to avoid. You've come out already.
So far, so good. Yeah.
Okay, well, 155 is Julia Lemagnon. Number 90, very well-known quizzer in Frank Paul. 246 is seeded player Sean Webb. And 88 is Ewan Munro, who plays in New Zealand. So no Americans here, I'm afraid. Does Frank need much introduction, Gareth?
You know, he did brilliantly as series champion on Only Connect. He's just a bit of a renaissance guy, runs fiendishly difficult questions on the internet, and was a resident quizzer on the Answer Trap, which is a really good Channel 4 show this year.
Didn't get renewed though, sadly.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been yet, but we can help but hope. But QB League, 39 points, average points per game. So, you know, he's following up, you know, with solid performances.
Yeah, Sean is someone who's come out during this era of online quizzing and taken it like a duck to water and brilliantly across all formats, really.
He's a brilliant quizzer. He's got, for such youth, he's got amazing depth of knowledge and breadth. He's really, really good player. Played in our Quiz Omnium, did well in that. He's a very strong quiz bowler, but he's got a 59.29 average in QB League. He is going to be one to watch in this format. And Ewan, really lovely guy. I mean, one of the gentlest, loveliest guys you can meet. I'm not sure how well he'll do on the international curriculum, but you know, he's a good player.
He's got a tier 5 Brain of Online Quiz League trophy, although it's sending it to New Zealand would have required me getting a second mortgage, so it sits in my cabinet, and I'll pass it on to whoever wins it next year. So he's obviously good at the format. Julia, I can't remember which team she plays for. I think she'll do okay, but I think Sean and Frank are probably be fighting that one out for first, but it should be a good game.
Yeah, should be.
Next one, please. Okay, 245 is been listening and commenting very helpfully on the draw and is seeded. That is Scott Blish. 36, Carol Croning. 192, Australian, Nat O'Brien. And 21, not a name I know, afraid, Anupama Srirangan. I guess we'll turn to you, Pam, to tell us how good Scott is.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. You know, multiple Learned League scarf holder, excellent in, you know, what I wrote down here was many categories. Top line in OQL and Learned League, and pretty much any quiz format you can think of. So look out Carol, Nat, and Anupama.
Yeah, Nat's an Australian quizzer who's been participating and plays at all hours to get the games in, which is great. And she's really friendly as well, really nice person. I don't know Carol yet, I'm afraid. And do we know anything about Anupama?
Definitely a strong credentials, an A Rundler in Learned League, plays OQL, averaging 3 2s a game. So good,
okay, so
but Scott's gonna, yeah.
Scott was always going to be a favourite, whoever he drew, but I think Anupama's probably going to give him the closest game there. But we'll see how that one plays out anyway. And good luck with the scheduling there. And game 54, please. Number 8. That is Amy Goodell, who's a 15-1 legend in the UK. 52 are seeded players from the USA, Dan Feitel. 130 also from the USA, Jason King. And 136, I believe, is from the Warwick Quiz Society. That's Jenna Carolan. So this is her debut competition with us. That's all I know about her, unfortunately. So we'll turn to Pam to talk about Dan and Jason.
Sure. Dan is currently averaging 4.32s a game in OQL USA. He's a tournament champions player on Jeopardy, A Rundler, really strong in history and literature, and is in Division 1 for OQL, his team. So yeah, he's going to be tough. Jason is in OQL. He is, Jeff King is the top king, but Jason King is not doing too shabbily with 3.662s a game.
Great. Okay, and Amy Goodell is just absolutely fantastic quizzer, really lovely person. Yeah. She was a 15-1 legend when I was growing up as a teenager watching that show. She was smashing it. Did really well on the Connection, on Only Connect as part of the Cosmopolitans, and seems to throw herself into everything, always smiling, always happy. So whoever plays will enjoy the game.
She's got a really good background for this. I think she was a maths teacher, but certainly maths is her background. She played Quiz Omnium 2 on All Things Quiz. She was an egghead when they filmed the pilot for Eggheads.
Right.
So she was close to being an egghead. And her average in QB League is 38.57 points per game. So she's no slouch in that format. So yeah, she'll give them a good match.
A tough game then. That'll be interesting. Okay, we'll have game 55. Okay, number 78 is Ed Mason. 256 is Stephen Curtis from the UK. 164, our seeded player, American, Long Win. And number 1, also American, and that's Aaron Levine, or Levine. So I know Stephen Curtis, a really nice guy, very, very chatty. All his games always go on a little bit longer because he just likes to talk and it's always fun. Ed is also a UK quizzer, but I don't know too much about him, I'm afraid. So we'll turn to Pam to tell us about Long and Aaron.
Yeah, Long is averaging 4.62s a game in OQL USA, and in Learned League, strengths in history, science, and geography. History, science, and geography all above 900. So very, very strong there.
And Aaron's American too, I believe.
Yeah. Don't know quite as much about Aaron. He's averaging 2.82s a game in OQL USA.
I have a feeling his team may have won the cup one season, but you'd have to check that with Steve.
But there's 6 Levine A somethings in Learned League, so.
So we don't know which one's him. No, fair enough.
I think do know that
Google stalk him.
He's averaging 11.67 in QB League, so he's doing all right. Long, on the other hand, 42nd in the World Championship.
Yeah, Long's the player. He's the player to beat there for sure. Absolutely. Okay, next game, please. Okay, number 39 is Catherine. Oh no, not somebody I know, I'm afraid. 254 is, again, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Srinath Sundareswaran. 262 is our seeded player, Taylor Harvey, and 98 is George Scratchard. So I don't really know much about any of these. George is a OQL UK player, but I think his team have just dropped out. So.
Yeah, Catherine Ona is on my list, but I can't tell you too much about her. Averaging 3.52s a game in OQL USA doesn't appear to be in Learned League, so a bit of a dark horse there. Taylor is not in OQL USA as far as I can tell, but in Learned League, very, very strong in art, world history, and literature. So that's a nice all-encompassing set of skills for this syllabus.
Yeah, Srinath, I think, is one of our Indian quizzes who's joined us very late on, so I don't have any information about him yet. But as we've said many times, I've got several weeks to make it. Does George play QLL?
He certainly has done, because when I was captaining the Summer League about 3 years ago, he was on my team. I picked him in the draft, and he's a good player, very quietly good. In QB League, he's averaging 41.25.
That's very strong.
He's playing very well. So yeah, I mean, look out for George. Here's a silent assassin. He could do well.
Okay, great. Okay, game 57. Number 50. That is Damien Evans. 188 from Australia, Mick Logue. 187, Michael Joe Bartel. And our seeded player number 20 is Anu Kashyap, who I believe does very well in OQR USA. Am I right there?
Yeah, both Michael Bartel and Anu are on my list here. Anu is averaging 5.2 the game, so excellent.
Yeah.
And strengths are world history, geography, literature. Michael Joel Bartel doesn't appear to be playing OQL, but is excellent at art, music, and geography. So that should be an interesting matchup between those two who have slightly different skill sets.
If we throw in on Michael, at the moment he's over here.
Yes, he's in the UK.
He's the captain of the Birmingham University Challenge team on the current series, who dealt out one of the greatest shellackings in University Challenge history recently. So his team's doing really well. He's captaining them brilliantly. He was in Quiz Omnium too, on All Things Quiz. QB League 51.25. Well, Michael is playing really well.
This looks like a group of death then, because Mick Logue is a top Australian.
Yeah.
And Damien Evans is fantastic. Does really well.
Averaging 4.5 in QLL. Yeah.
I think his OQL stats will be similar. So that's a really tough game. Anu is a very, very strong player, but all three of the others that's going to be tough. That's one of the hardest games we've drawn for sure.
Anu came 120th in the world. He's really a rising star, I think.
Yeah. Okay, great. We'll have the next one, please. 144, that is John McKenzie. 281 is Vincenzo Tagle, or Vinny Tagle, I think from the Philippines, or I think that's right. 200, I'm sure Pam knows this person very well. It's Nicole Noilis. And 219 is our seeded player from Switzerland, Prakhar Gupta. So Nicole is a very well-known name on the US seed, aren't they?
Yeah, Nicole is playing, I think, pretty much all the American League.
Right. And then we've got Praktar, who you should.
I don't know anything about Praktar, I have to say. I didn't manage to find anything.
He plays suspended isolation, I think, in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know anything about him. Vincenzo, on the other hand, looks like a useful player. 39.38 average in QB League, 184th in the world. So, Philippines, Movin Miranda has got a lot of quizzes mobilized out that way. And I think we're seeing the benefit with people like Vincenzo.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, so it should be a good game. I look forward to that one. Right, sorry. Yeah, I had a message come through. I had to sort out. Next game, please. Okay, 179 is Matthew Akpan, or Machine Gun Akpan, as he's known for a while in the UK. 47 is Claire Barrow. Number 5, seeded player, who I'm sure Pam knows well, that's Alan Lynn. And 91, oh, very, very strong British quiz. I'm surprised they've not been seeded. That's Frankie Fanko. So, Pam, Alan.
Yes, Alan is delightful. Alan is a Tournament of Champions finalist. He was, of course, on my team, or Colby's team. We were both on Colby's team for the All-Stars. He's going to be on the U.S. Under-30 team at the Quiz Olympiad next week. He's currently editing the Museums Mini League. He had a full house 1 week this season in OQL USA and is averaging 5.62s a game. So yeah, he certainly deserves his seed, but yeah, gonna have a tough game with Frankie Fanko. Sure.
Yeah, but Alan's Jeopardy episodes were on the UK, available on the UK for a while on Netflix.
Oh.
So they've all gone now, unfortunately, which is a shame. Claire Barrow, I really like because she knocked Aidan out on Mastermind, which I do find funny. But she's really lovely, and Aidan has no ill blood. Matthew Akpan say he was known as Machine Gun Akpan for his bonus attempts, but he seems to have adapted his strategy now. Gareth, if you want to tell us.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is we've got two of the finalists from Mastermind last year. So we've got Claire Barrow, as you said, she did very, very well in the final. Frankie Fanko was runner-up. Frankie is a phenomenal quizzer, Mastermind runner-up, but she's done brilliantly in other formats. Brain of Britain, Only Connect. She does QLL, Grand Prix, World Quizzing Championship, 29.29 average in QB League. Frankie is just superb. I think, like her husband Andrew, she's also a translator. I think knowledge of international languages is really going to help in this format of quiz. You know, I think Frankie's gonna be a good shout for this one. I don't know Alan, but of the Brits, I think Frankie is going to be putting in a challenge.
Yeah, Alan is an exceptional quizzer, so I think that'll be a good game between the two of them for sure. Right, let's have game 60. Okay, number 261 is Stuart Lovering. 28 is Ben McIntyre. Number 10 is seeded player. I'm not sure what country, but it's Andreas Crow. I think he's from Austria. And 158 is American Kelly Rabin. So Andreas played tests for OQL UK and was in the Pop Culture Challenge as well, but he much prefers international culture like this. Do we know much more than that, Gareth?
Andreas, sorry, 135th in the world. So yeah. Good player.
Right. Kelly's an American, so what can you tell us, Pam?
Yeah, very active in various forms of OQL. Currently averaging 3.22s a game in OQL USA. In Learned League, let me pull her back up. Among her strengths are geography, history, language. So
great, perfect for this competition. Yeah.
But Ben, go ahead.
I don't know them, so carry on.
Ben's statistics in Learned League are exceptional in film, American history, geography, theater, all of over 900. He doesn't appear to be playing OQL USA, but yeah, those are some impressive stats in several categories. So
yeah, that is good. And Stuart, I believe, plays with Rachel Clark on the, I think it's Cardiff University team. He's a bit older than he's a mature student, does very well, very, very well in OQL. So that'll be interesting. A nice mix there for sure. Right, so next game. Okay, 132, Jeff Frank. 224 is Rahul Jayanti. 123 is James Horton. And 35 is the seeded player, is Brian Craythorne. So we have Jeff's a US quizzer. Seems very well to be. I see his name come up quite a lot in various places. Very active.
Yeah, he certainly does a lot of quizzing. In OQL USA, averaging 4.42 the game, and is strong in American history, in particular of the academic categories in Learned League.
I think this looks like possibly the most balanced heat we've drawn. I think everybody could have been a seed here. James Horton, although he tends better to be on the Pop Culture Challenge side, is an excellent all-round quizzer and constantly getting better. Brian joined us recently, but has been making team of the week in, week out. And Rahul is one of the Indian quizzes who joined us very late on. I wouldn't want to call that one at all. I think that's going to be a really interesting game.
Brian is one of those kind of outside bets, I think, because I believe he's from Northern Ireland. He came 105th in the World Championships. So, you know, he's somebody who's kind of on the fringes of breaking into the very top rank. And, you know, he's got a shot here. Yeah,
he feels like he's come from nowhere, but is doing really well. Right, let's have the next game. Okay, 142 is John Harden. 253 is Shref Shah. 160 is Kevin Finn, who is Irish but plays in the US League. And 102, who will be on our YouTube with Pam later this evening for the Connections League final, is Greg Peterson. So I'll leave this one to you, Pam, to talk about a few Americans there to start.
Yeah, well, Kevin is currently averaging 4.62s in OQL USA, and in Learned League, exceptional at geography, history, language, and art. So that's a nice spread for this league. But Greg is just, you know, top notch in connections and just straight up trivia, averaging 5.2s a game, and just, you know, has strengths in so many categories that it's perhaps not worth listing them out. So I think getting past Greg is going to be tough.
Do we know much about Shref? I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry.
Yeah, he's a strong player, plays within the Asian Quiz League, averages 13.89 in QB League. He's also written questions for All Things Quiz. You know, he's kind of tapped into a number of things. He's pretty good. Just one thing thrown on Kevin, 97th in the world this year. So again,
wow,
you know, good performance to be in the top 100. I don't know anything about John Harden, I'm afraid.
John plays OQL UK. He reached tier 13 in the Pop Culture Challenge. I think he made I'm not sure how far he got. I think he got to the final or the semi-final. So he's a really nice guy. I don't know much about his quizzing abilities though, so we'll have to see how he gets on. I think he's in quite a tough game, but hopefully it'll be a nice one. Okay, game 63. Okay, 162, Lawrence Cook, very good British quizzer. 249, Sean Drury, I also believe a British. 234 is Robert Crawley. And our seeder player here, 64, David Harris. So we've got an all UK-based heat here to discuss. It's an interesting one.
It really is. I mean, David Harris, who is seeded, quite rightly so, he's really good at the kind of buzzer quiz format. But what he's phenomenally strong on is literature. I can't remember many players who are better than him at literature across the spectrum. He's superb. He's averaging 54.38 in QB League. He is really good player based up, I think, in Edinburgh. So yeah, absolutely justifies being seeded. Robert is a really talented up-and-coming player. He was top average in recent Quiz Bowl tournaments. I think his first tournament as a university student. So he's doing brilliantly. Won Quizzer of the Week off the back of that, and doing creditably in QB League. And then Lawrence Cook, British quizzer, lives in Lincolnshire, plays in the Welsh squad. He's a strong generalist. I don't think there are that many chinks in his armour. I think he's a good quizzer. I don't know Sean Drury, I'm afraid.
No, well, Lawrence was on the losing team in the MQL Buzzer Quiz Plate final, which I took great joy in because obviously I was on the winning team. But it was a really fun final, played in a good spirit. So that was nice. Sean, I'm not too sure about Sean. He's been playing in the OQL UK for a few seasons, but I couldn't tell you which team, I'm afraid. I think David and Lawrence are both really good. I think it'll be between those two, but Robert and Sean both got ability, and Robert, I think, will be very, very good as he improves. He's only 18. He's only just started university, so there's a lot to come from him.
Yeah.
All right, next game. Still waiting for you to come out, Pam. You'll be the last game, I'm sure.
Yeah, just keep me around till then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've done, just to make sure you don't go away. 97 is Jeff Graham. That's a new name on me. 40 is our seeded player. That's Charlie Bowen. 108 is Harry Shaw. And 139 from the USA, Jimmy Lee.
So yeah, Charlie Bowen. He plays in Quiz League London Division 3. Currently has a 4 average. but he's getting 30.58 average in QB League. You know, he's a good player. I think he was on Only Connect last series as well. I think he's probably got a little bit more experience that I'm probably not mentioning. Might be some UC, but you know, he's a good player.
Yeah. Tell us about Jimmy, Pam.
His team is in Division 1 of OQL USA, and they're a lot of fun to play. He's averaging 5.1
oh gosh, that's
per
strong.
game. So yeah. And his team is also in Connections Online, but I'm not sure where they finished.
And
I think he did very well.
He came 104th in the world. So again, another really strong player in that batch, and 22.86 average in QB League. So good sort of player.
I think he did quite well in last season as well. Hence the season. Harry Shaw, a UK player, did quite well in the Pop Culture Challenge. I think he came second in his tier. Jeff Graham, I don't know anything about yet, but hopefully 9 weeks down the line we will. I think this is their first competition. Okay, next game, please. 8 to go. Okay, 191 is Morgan Bush. 173 is Mark Kerr. 208 is Pam. Hooray!
Yay!
And 124 is James Lasker. So, Pam, what do you know about Pam Mueller?
Not much. No, I'm looking forward to playing in this. I'm not sure that I feel like I'm more of a generalist than a specific high culture or low culture quizzer. So I'm hoping to learn a lot as well.
You've got a lovely game there. Morgan Bush is only 18, recently come onto the Quiz League scene, been playing in Connections League and has now moved up to Liverpool. So he'll be joining the Merseyside Quiz League and was at the Buzzer Quiz, which Mark Kerr helped to organise. So you've got 2 Liverpool-based quizzers there. Mark, I'm surprised actually isn't senior. Mark's an exceptional quizzer. Has been around for a long time. And Gareth, I'm sure you know him probably better than I do.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's a stalwart of Merseyside quizzing, but also nationally. You know, when the Grand Prix circuit was growing and in its infancy, he was there every time. He's been abroad to the European Championships. He was 39th in the last BQC. Strong all-round player. I think perhaps he's done less of the international stuff of late. Other than that, Pam Mueller, 93rd in the world. She was too humble to mention. So anyone in the top 100 has got to be taken seriously. And I don't know anything about James Lasker.
No, I'm afraid
I can tell you that James Lasker plays Learned League, but not OQL, and has strengths in math and science.
Okay, great. Yeah, sorry, James, we don't know much about you yet, but if you beat Pam, we definitely will. Okay, next game. 190 is Mike Olsen, who I thank every day for the fantastic stats he provides for OQL and OQL USA. 103 is Max Espenson from the UK. 268 is Toby Cox. Oh, I never know if he's UK or US. I think he might be a bit of both. Okay. And 251 is Simon Wood. So, as I say, Mike Olsen does all the stats for both leagues, but I don't really know much about his quizzing. Do you know much there, Pam?
I can tell you that he's averaging 4.22 a game in OQL USA, so that's definitely good. Do you happen to know if he lives in Madison or in Minnesota? He probably lives, given the stats, he probably is the one in Minnesota. So
he's going to Disney World, if that helps.
But the Olsen M who lives in Minnesota is truly excellent at math and science, which seems logical for a statistician.
Yes, absolutely.
And is very strong in history and geography as well.
Great. Well, I'll obviously be hoping Mike does well. We thank him every day for the brilliant work he does. So Max is QLL. Does a lot of quizzing.
He's a very strong science quizzer. You know, when he writes a friendly, he writes proper science. He doesn't just do, you know, what is the chemical symbol for lead or whatever. You know, he is doing shit hard stuff. So he's really good at science. 4.67.
Well, that's unfortunate to have 2 science specialists.
Yeah.
4.67 QLL average. So he's playing well. Toby Cox, really interesting. Toby's been around for quite a while. University Challenge alum. This year, 56th in the World Championships, 61st in the British Championships. I think coming higher in the world than the Brits tells you that his knowledge skews international.
So he'll do well at this, yeah.
He's tough. He's going to do well. Toby is a really, really good player. and Simon Wood came 266th in the world from New Zealand. So for a country which doesn't have the structures that many of these other nations do, he's done really well to get that sort of position. Let's see how he does. He could surprise.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, that'll be. Yeah, I think Pam hit the nail on the head there. Two scientists in one game isn't good for either of them. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, next game. 6 to go by the looks of it. Okay, number 65 is David Hess. He's the seeded player here, still of the UK League. 99 is Gigi George. Great name. I don't know who they are, though. 148, this is John Violet, Gareth. You can talk about him now. And 230, very good at this kind of field, is Rob Greenhill. That's a tough game.
Yeah, it is. A real selection. Now, David Hess, who's seeded, he has been at the top of British quizzing for quite some time. He plays in the Lancaster League.
Yeah.
But he's had a lot of success on TV quizzes going back to the 80s. I would expect a more traditional curriculum to suit him. He's not kind of your pop culture quizzer. So this will be right up his alley. John Violet, 24.17 average in QB League, so looking good. Rob Greenhill doesn't often get talked about, I think, and perhaps unfairly, came 84th in the World Championships this year. So again, one of these quizzes you see around, he does well, doesn't get the headlines, but actually that sort of performance kind of marks him out. And Gigi George, I could just join in with the fandom on the name.
Sorry we don't know anything more about you, Gigi, but hopefully you enjoy the competition and we'll know more about you by the end. I couldn't even say if that was a male or female name. I'm sorry about that. But we'll move on to the next game, please. Just 5 to go. Okay, 229, that is Richard Jones. 161, Kieran Mawaha from QLL. 275 is Trevor Alexander, who wasn't seeded but very nearly was. And the seed here is number 211, Paul Calotti. So I think Trevor is our lone American here amongst 3 Brits.
Yeah, Canadian, according to the list.
Yeah, he didn't turn up on my list, but I can quickly find out things about him, namely that he is getting 4.62s a game in OQL USA.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
sorry, go ahead.
No, carry on, Pam. I was just talking whilst you were searching.
Strengths in math and science and world history above 900. Also geography and American history above 900. So very strong.
I mean, I'm looking at there's 2 QLLers in here, Richard Jones and Kieran Mawaha. Both are good, solid players. Richard plays in Division 1 for Nomads. That's Andrew Fraser's team. 3.25 average in a brutal league. And Kieran, she's just great all-rounder as well as being phenomenally nice. I don't have her stats, I'm afraid. Paul Calotti, Irish quizzer, 95th in the world. Yeah. So I think that's why he's been seeded. That's such a strong finish, and I think probably a notch above the rest.
He captains a Division 1 team in OQL UK, I think. But him and Trevor will have a very tough game, and Richard and Kieran are both very good, so they're not going to let them get away with it easy. That'll be a good game. Right, next one then, please. Number 87, that is our seeded player, Eugene Hung. Number 3, Addy Lewis. 103, Greg Sandukas. And 272 is Tony Monroe. So I think we've got 2 Americans here and 1 quizzer who prefers doing American quizzes in Addy. So we'll go to you first, Pam.
Well, Eugene is a great guy. He is averaging 4.2s a game in OQL USA and is very, very good at classical music as well as history. Greg Sandukas, I know a little less about. He doesn't play OQL USA, but in Learned League, his best category is business and econ, which can have tendrils in all sorts of areas. So he may be able to parlay that knowledge into various areas.
And Addy just OQL UK, OQL USA, everything just seems to really enjoy quizzing. And Tony is a UK quizzer. It seems to do quite well. Do you have any more stats than that, Gareth? Or?
I don't know. No, I don't know anything about Tony. So yeah, sorry, nothing to enlighten us.
Plays quite a few competitions and generally does quite well. So we'll see how he gets on.
Yeah.
Okay, game 70. Number 213, that is Paul Emerson. 32 is Billy Bayer. 135 is Jeffrey Seguritan. And so our seeded player is 241, who we'll be seeing. 241 is Ryan Rosenberg. So this is a very US.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be, since I have, 5 US people left in very few games. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a tough matchup. Jeffrey Sigurtan runs a current events newsletter, and I think he's really in the running for title for most quizzing done online during the pandemic. Primarily pub quizzes, but just constantly quizzing. And it shows because he's currently averaging 5.8 twos per game in OQL USA. Billy Bayer, I don't know a whole lot about, but he's averaging 4.2 twos in OQL USA, and his strengths are history, science, and lit. So that the fact that I noted that means they're above 800 and perhaps above 900. And then Ryan Rosenberg, this is going to be a tough match. Ryan Rosenberg, I don't think plays OQL USA, but I have him down as an A Rundler who's, where did that go? Sorry.
It's okay. If he's seeded, he's obviously a very strong quizzer.
I have him down as an A Rundler with strengths in history and math. So
yeah, if he's an A Rundler, he's going to be no mug. And Jeffrey Sigurtan's been making some headlines, and if he's not seeded and Ryan is, then that tells you how good Ryan is.
I used to love Jeffrey's notepad with all the questions written. It was just so neat and incredible. And Paul is a British quizzer. Does he play QLL?
Yeah, he plays QLL. He's also done Grand Prix regularly, European Championships regularly. He's a reliable quizzer. Lovely guy. I can't see him challenging for the #1 spot in this game. But he is somebody with the most indomitable enthusiasm for quizzing. He will just keep playing. He's just absolutely the spirit of quiz.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. Okay, right, we'll take the penultimate match then. Okay, number 89 is from the Wirral Quiz League, Fiona McDougall. 125 from the Liverpool Quiz League is James McGregor. So they're very know each other. 152 is Joseph Taylor, who I think is UK as well. But I'll see the player here. 177 is from the US. That's Matt Booth, who I think is new to OQR. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if you do, Pam.
No, he didn't end up on my list somehow. So
I think he's US. Maybe I'm wrong then.
Yeah.
Maybe he's British. Well,
he's British.
Fiona.
My list.
Oh, he's British. Oh, sorry, Pam. So it's an all British heat. Fiona from the Wirral Quiz League, really nice. Appeared on the Chase, and they discussed the online quiz league. And overnight, we got 6 new teams, which was incredible. So we could never thank her enough for that. James, really good friend of mine from the Liverpool Quiz League. Him and me went to watch Ricky Gervais in concert together last week and just laughed and laughed the whole time. But he's also a really good quizzer, but generally better at the pop culture side of things. So this is more of a learning curve for him. Joseph and Matt, I don't really know too much about, so I'll turn to you now.
Joseph is on my connections team, and I didn't really know him beforehand. I've quizzed against him a little bit in some ad hoc buzzer quizzing, but he's a good player. He's got some really good nuggets of knowledge that the sort of thing that makes really good teamwork possible in the Connections League. I don't know how good he is in terms of kind of more regular quizzing like this, but what I've seen, I've been impressed with. Matthew Booth, I'm afraid I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Matt's the seeded player, so obviously Hugh and Rob know something that we don't about Matt. He must be very good to be seeded. Right, and we'll move on to the very last game. So all being well, our seeded player should be Ujwal Deb, and it is. And then we've got 153, which is Joshua Pugh Jin. 14, Andrew Story. And 82 is Elliot Gray Club. So we end with an all-UK game, and quite a young one as well. Oh no, not Andrew's. Andrew's a bit older than the other 3. He runs a quiz channel almost on Facebook. I often see the question of the day videos popping up. Joshua is the recruitment secretary for OQL UK and does an absolutely brilliant job. brings in, organises the scratch teams, really puts in a lot of work, and we really appreciate everything there. Elliot is from the Quiz Sheffield team, and I believe was homeschooled, so that might make this an interesting, picks up different things from there. Ujwal, I just know, is an excellent quizzer. Is he QLL?
Yeah, he's played QLL. He's moved back to the Netherlands. So for him, COVID's kind of worked out all right, because he was going to lose access to his quizzing, and he's kept it.
Yeah.
And he's done very well. I think he's one of the more improved players in the COVID era. He's done pretty good.
Okay, that should be a good close game. Right. Well, that's all of them now. So just what would have happened. So firstly, thank you, Gareth. Thank you, Pam. Really appreciate you being on. You've given us some great insights into everyone here. And it's really nice to see you, and hopefully we'll see you again. What happens now is all the players, you're going to get an email which will give you details of the game. The only game where there's a tiny issue is obviously the one which involves Dara, because that was a mistake by me. So don't schedule that one yet. We'll get that fixed, and you'll get a fresh email. Reply to the email. That's going to go to your opposition, and you can schedule your game. The availability check finder, you've all had the link to that. If you click on there, you can get everything set up on there, and that might make things easier, especially if you've got 2 or 3 time zones to work with. Get your games played. Ideally, the last start time for a game should be 7 p.m. What is GMT on Sunday. If you need to go later than that, then please do let us know, because obviously it means we have to delay the draw. And if it's much later, then there would be no draw, because we can't really stay up that late. It won't be a live draw. So we'll see what happens there. So try and get the games in when you can. If you're available to read, as soon as you've finished your game, please let us know. Pick up games. We'd really appreciate that. The reader credit is still available for every game here. You'll get the US equivalent, or whatever your currency is. And yeah, we just really hope you enjoy the competition. Gareth, Pam, any matches really stand out for you?
Well, before we go on to that, just a reminder that the Connections Online Quiz League UK final is in 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And the USA final in 70 minutes. So tune in for those. No, I think there are quite juicy matches without being able to scroll back through the
it's hard
list.
to see.
Yeah,
I think
there's just so many.
I think what will be really interesting is seeing who surprises us, because there are people we prefigured as being really good and shooing to win, but it can be a funny old format, Mimir. So I think I think it will be really interesting to see the draw next time round, once people have played, when we can see how well they're doing against this year's setters and their evil-minded question writing. And then I think we'll start to see the people, when we see their own gets, who will thrive in this. And I think right now, at the moment, I could say Victoria Gross, Mark Grant, a few people like that who I expect to be up there. But until we see the match play, it's a little bit early.
Yeah. Pam, do you tip Victoria to win again?
There's no reason why she shouldn't.
Yeah.
But once you get to the finals, as Gareth just said, things can happen with formats, or you get the one question in the quad you didn't know. So I would say certainly to the finals, and then who knows. Yeah, great. Well, again, thank you both very much for being here tonight. It's been really nice having you on here, and hopefully we'll see you again. Thanks to Will for everything he does backstage, and thanks to Rob and Hugh and the rest of the setting team. They put together some great quizzes. Everything's edited. The answers are available in every European native language of anyone playing. If you've requested your language, it should be there, so you can answer in your own language, which is, I think, a huge help, especially when given book titles or other titles. That'll be great. And we just really hope you all enjoy the competition. I'm sure it runs through.